Hello everyone. Today I'm going to continue a similar discussion uh, that is with respect to revolts and uprising under any political regime. However, I would try to center my discussion around Mughal regime. Uh, it is very important for all of us to understand that revolts and uprisings have been occurring throughout history, and the way these revolts have been handled call for analytical engagement. So, as far as Mughal Empire is concerned, the revolts within the frontier and revolts beyond frontiers took place, and both kind of revolts called for two different approaches because of various factors. So, in my previous discussion, I had dealt with revolt which took place within the frontier. That was a Jat revolt under Aurangzeb. Now, let us also discuss about a revolt which took place in northwest frontier portion of Indian subcontinent. And how was that dealt with? Uh, it is worth noticing. Uh, Before we discuss the actual development of event, which is part of this revolt, let us understand this geography. That is a northwest frontier of Indian subcontinent. This part of subcontinent has remained very crucial for any ruling class. Whenever any ruling class failed to pay sufficient attention to this part of continent, it very often resulted in destabilization of the empire set up by that particular ruling class. That is why any ruling class which would become part of any time would try to understand and try to engage with the threat which would very often arise from the northwest frontier of the Indian subcontinent. So even in ancient time, when Sikandar or this threat from the Iran, threat from Macedonia, that is a Greek, and threat from the Central Asian countries. For example, the Kushan Empire. Kushan Empire itself had come from the western part of China, northwestern part of China, coming all the way from Central Asia, passing from this northwest frontier, and then coming into the India. So during Sultanate period also there were frequent incursions from that part of India. So what would happen actually? No ruler could actually shift his attention from that part of subcontinent. It invariably called for engagement in a peaceful manner or in a very violent manner. Uh, so it was very important for any ruler to understand the pattern and understand the kind of energy and the kind of planning which was required to deal with the threat which would arise from that part of continent. It was not an easy, and it was not one time and one of event. That was a regular threat, at regular interval, which would keep happening from that part of continent. So let us come to the importance of this area. In the first place, this entire place, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Central Asia, Uzbek, Tajikistan, also including the Persian land. So this entire region, frankly speaking, is not very hospitable. It is mountainous, and it has a series of rivers, and it is also not a place where one can hope to cultivate uh, in a, in large scale. So these all this entire landmass, which is part of the northwest frontier and this western India, is a very difficult terrain, and the people who inhabited this entire place, they are mostly tribal and nomadic, and they would survive through conducting a raid over traders who would very often pass from these places. So, if you refer to the ancient period and the medieval period, so it was the Silk Route, which would start from the Roman, from the the Roman Empire. It would pass from the Middle East, and then it would pass from this Afghanistan and Central Asian and would go all the way to China. So all these nomadic people and the tribal people who were part of this geography would survive through moving from place to place by looting these people, looting this caravan of traders. It's a similar thing continued to happen in medieval period too. So when it comes to look at that place from Indian point of view, we must bring into discussion those passes where from all the traders from both sides would pass from. So there were many multiple passes like Khyber Pass, Bolan Pass, and other passes. So that is where from all these traders would move through, and there would be exchange of good through these passes, and these passes would play very important economic role for both sides of the geography. Whenever there would be a blockade that would undermine the economic condition of both sides, and our Mughal Empire would draw a great deal of benefit from these passages. So whenever there would be blockade, Mughal emperor would try to unblock those passages in whatever manner possible. So let us take one example during Akbar, when these passages were blocked, and Akbar had to engage Birbal, who was actually killed there. And later on, it was Raja Todarmal and Raja Man Singh who went on to take revenge of Birbal's death, and they managed to take control of these places and the people, and they managed to secure victories. However, any victory was not of permanent nature. Time and again, these people would resurface depending on the power of Mughal Empire. So, whenever the center would become weak or whenever there would be instability, the people from this part of continent would resurface and reassert their power, and they would become very violent, and they would become very unfriendly, and that would very often call for the battle. And so it is not that we do not have the battle. So there are many battles which took place. So it is history is all about battles whenever it comes to deal with this northwest frontier. So when we talk about Aurangzeb's time, this time around, what happened? There were three major tribes which were very important. Three stocks of tribes. One was Yusufjai, one was Afridis, and other was these Wajirs. So somewhere in 1667, this Yusufjai tribes and a leader from that stock of tribe became very dominant and became very troublesome, and Aurangzeb had to respond without any delay. And fortunately, Aurangzeb had perhaps a good understanding of this threat which was arising from this northwest frontier. However, it was not possible for him to become friendly in the very beginning. So he started with the aggression, and later on, he also had to settle down for a cordial understanding between people of this belt and India. So in 1667, when this Isojai tribes uh, created problem, so Aurangzeb had to employ one military commander whose name is Muhammad Amin Khan. He was a Mir Bakshi, and he was given an army of 9,000 men. And with that size of army men, he managed to suppress the revolt. But later on, what happened by 1672, Afridis became troublesome. That is another stock of tribe. And when these Afridis were creating trouble, there were other more tribes. One is Khataks. So one very famous poet who would write against Mughal Empire, his name is Kushal. He also became part of it, including the people of that particular tribes, that is Khataks. So they all joined Afridis against Mughal Empire. So it was not an easy task for Aurangzeb to tackle this trouble, which was ongoing, and it was consuming a great deal of energy. Uh, Especially, this was important when he had already exhausted his energy dealing with this Deccan, which turned out to be very costly. So, looking at various frontiers and the problems arising therefrom was not an easy task for Aurangzeb. And in this crisis, that he is actually trying to handle this issue, which is related to the northwest frontier. So he managed to take control of the situation. However, in the meantime, imperial army was routed, and large number of people, military personnel, were massacred by in an ambush by these Afridis. So Aurangzeb had become very upset. However, by 1675, Aurangzeb managed to take control of this place and the people, and he placed Amir Khan, who became a governor of Kabul. And Aurangzeb also adopted a policy which was of pacifying nature. So he tried to give them money. He also tried to recruit them into the imperial army, and he also tried to encourage them in order to avoid trouble in future. And this is how he managed to keep this entire territory peaceful. And this lesson and the trend which he had set was also very useful for the Britishers, because Britishers has also tried to adopt policy of masterly inactivity, whereby they tried to remain neutral towards these Afghans and Afghanistan, because these it was difficult for any ruling class to uproot this issue for good. So they would, whenever the opportunity would arise, they would resurface, and their counter attack and their counter measure would turn out to be very costly. That would be very deadly. And so this was one of the lessons which Aurangzeb had actually left as a legacy for the future ruling class. It is different thing that it could not be utilized. And so that is it when it comes to talk about Afghan revolts and the Mughal Empire. That's it. Thank you very much.